In September of last year, an FBI special agent, his name was Steve Friend, he filed a whistleblower complaint with the Inspector General of the Department of Justice. He alleged that senior officials in the Biden administration were using the FBI to target political opponents of the Democratic Party. Specifically, Friend said the FBI leaders would often use heavy armed SWAT teams to show a use of force to arrest supporters of Donald Trump, purely for political reasons. And Steve Friend would know because he was on the FBI SWAT team. If that's true, it's illegal. In a DOJ that cared about equal justice, it would trigger an immediate investigation. But when Steve Friend filed his complaint, the DOJ did not give him any whistleblower protections, which are required by federal law. Instead, the DOJ retaliated against Steve Friend. They escorted him out of the Daytona Beach field office. They put him on unpaid leave and pressured him to resign. He left the agency the day he testified publicly about all of this. He's a brave guy. No one in the Democratic Party has said a word about what happened to Steve Friend. They do not care. They want to bury the story. We do not. And it's not hard to see why they wanted to bury the story. He is a big political problem for the Democratic Party. Now, the interesting thing. Democrats in Congress are starting to come out in defense of a different whistleblower inside the IRS, you may have heard. The IRS whistleblower says he has had evidence the senior officials in the Biden administration improperly intervened on an ongoing investigation, a criminal investigation, into this guy named Hunter Biden. That investigation concerned Hunter Biden's taxes. I don't think he pays them. The IRS whistleblower says Merrick Garland may have lied under oath about whether federal prosecutors are being allowed to prosecute any tax violations they find. Hey, it's been about 5 years, right? Here's Senator Chris Coons of Delaware saying the IRS whistleblower, unlike Steve Friend at the FBI, needs whistleblower protections.
CBS interviewed earlier this week an attorney for an IRS agent who is seeking whistleblower status from Congress to share information he says would contradict sworn testimony to Congress by a senior political appointee regarding the investigation into Hunter Biden. Do you think it's worth looking into the possibility of undue influence here?
Look, anyone who comes forward and seeks whistleblower protection status should be given that status. That's part of what we've put in place over many years.
See that little bug in the corner? It said CBS. CBS is covering the story. Let's go back to the quote. He says, anyone who comes forward and seeks whistleblower protection status should be given that status. So the IRS whistleblower should get protection suddenly. That, according to Chris Coons, who, by the way, replaced Joe Biden in Delaware. But the FBI whistleblower gets suspended without pay, and ultimately he's forced to resign. What could explain that? Here's a thought. It makes sense if Democrats view the FBI whistleblower as a threat to their ability to punish their political opponents using federal law enforcement. They want to keep doing that forever. No matter who is in the White House, they'll never give up that power. But the IRS whistleblower is a very different animal. He is a threat to Joe Biden personally. He can expose the corruption of Joe Biden and his administration if the IRS whistleblower succeeds. The Biden administration is done. And it's becoming obvious Democrats want him done. They want Joe Biden gone. Here is Chuck Todd of NBC, not exactly a conservative guy, opening up his show yesterday.
As Biden prepares to formally announce his campaign for a second term early this week, just 1 in 4 Americans believe he should run for re-election. 70% say he shouldn't run. 53% of 2020 Biden voters say he shouldn't run. 64% of Democrats who voted for Sanders or Warren in the 2020 primaries think he shouldn't run. And 76% of voters under 35 think he shouldn't run. And what's the top concern for that? We asked voters. We didn't prompt them. We said, why don't you think he should run? Well, these were the responses. It almost is all about his age and his ability to do the job.
It's not hard to see why Democrats are turning on Joe Biden. I can't believe that's NBC, by the way. He's 80. He'll be 82 if he wins again, 86 when he's done of his second term if he wins again. And it's becoming obvious he can't do the job now. Watch.
It's really very, very dull when after all these years in public life you're known for two things, Ray-Ban sunglasses and chocolate chip ice cream. A very dull president.
We have 1,000 billionaires in America. You know the average tax rate they pay? 8%. 8%.
As you walk into my office in the Oval Office in the United States Capitol,
Guess what? You know who founded and designed and built the White House? An Irishman. No, not a joke. You're a Biden, like, yeah, what the hell, Biden, you know what I mean? I'm like anyway. So thank you all, God bless you all, let's go lick the world, let's get it done.
So Joe Biden thinks the Oval Office is in the Capitol. He can't spell the word 8, got to put a T, and he wants to lick the world. Forget hostile interviews. Joe Biden can't even take questions from children, Irish children anymore. Here he was earlier this month explaining the keys to success.
Any of you guys want to ask me any questions? What do you want to ask me? Oh, Air Force, look at this. Air Force One. Right here. That's pretty cool, man.
Hey, Dad, he's got a question.
What's your question?
Top 7%.
What's the top what? What's the top success? Well, making sure that we don't all have COVID. What are you talking about?
That's a success. Like, what's the key to success?
What's the key to success? There was a guy named Jesse Helms from South Carolina, North Carolina. And he was a very conservative guy who was not very crazy about African Americans when he got here. We always had fights.
Yep, 100 to the rescue. When in doubt, kids love Jesse Helms stories. They always will. Despite his obvious inability to serve as president so far, numerous media outlets are reporting tonight that Joe Biden will indeed run again. He's disregarding Barack Obama's advice, perhaps, and he is pressing forward. That is not a surprise. He's been saying this for a while.
Some people ask whether you are fit for the job. And when you hear that, I wonder what you think.
Watch me. Looking at your child, you know the needs of innocent to live, and not having the money to pay for it. Not a joke. Think about it. Think about what you'd think about. You're going to make that all cement. You're going to use that as basis to build on, because you need security, you need stability for what you have on top, and you're going to build up stories beyond. I mean, this is incredible. This is the United States of America, for God's sake.
Mr. President, thank you.
How would you say your mental focus is?
Oh, it's focused. I haven't, look, I have trouble even saying to myself, my own head, the number of years. I no more think of myself as being as old as I am than fly.
So, what would a 2024 Joe Biden campaign look like? Here's a preview. Here's Joe Biden, 6 years younger than he is today.
Corn Pop was a bad dude, and he ran a bunch of bad boys, and he cut off a 6-foot length of chain. He folded up, he said, you walk out with that chain, and you walk to the car and say, you may cut me, man, but I'm going to wrap this chain around your head.
Another moving story with kids around. Joe Biden is doing what his masters in the Democratic Party have feared. He is running again. Maybe that's why they're rushing to protect the IRS whistleblower. Now, if Democrats can't stop Joe Biden, maybe the IRS whistleblower might be able to do it.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.